The Reserve Bank has just hiked the interest rate by 50 basis points. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because the RBA has just hiked the cash rate target by 50 basis points or 0.5%. For those of you playing at home, we can see here I've had to update my graph repeatedly. I had all these months off where I didn't have to do anything. Now I'm having to update this graph every month. So the cash rate is now up to 1.85%, and I guarantee we will start to see that appear in our mortgages, well, tomorrow probably, if not earlier. So let's have a look at this media release and statement from our Reserve Bank governor. So, at its meeting today, the board decided to increase the cash rate target by 50 basis points to 1.85%. It also increased the interest rate on exchange settlement balances by 50 basis points to 1.75%. The board places a high priority on the return of inflation to the 2 to 3% range over time, while keeping the economy on an even keel. The path to achieve this balance is a narrow one and clouded in uncertainty, not least because of global developments. The outlook for global economic growth has been downgraded due to pressure on real incomes from higher inflation, the tightening of monetary policy in most countries, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and COVID countermeasures in China. Inflation in Australia is the highest it has been since the 1990s. In headline terms, inflation was 6.1% over the year to the June quarter. In underlying terms, it was 4.9%. Global factors explain much of the increase in inflation, but domestic factors are also playing a role. There are widespread upward pressures on prices from strong demand, a tight labour market, and capacity constraints in some sectors of the economy. The floods this year are also affecting some prices. Inflation is expected to peak later this year and then decline back towards the 2 to 3% range. The expected moderation in inflation reflects the ongoing resolution of global supply-side problems, the stability or stabilization of commodity prices, and the impact of rising interest rates. Medium-term inflation expectations remain well anchored, and it is important that this remains the case. The bank's central forecast, so their medium forecast, middle one, for CPI inflation is to be around 7.75% over 2022, a little above 4% over 2023 and 3% over 2024. The Australian economy is expected to continue to grow strongly this year, with the pace of growth then slowing. Employment is growing strongly, consumer spending has been resilient, and an upswing in business investment is underway. National income is also being boosted by a rise in the terms of trade, which are at a record high. The bank's central forecast is for GDP growth of around 3.25% over 2022 and 1.75% in each of the following 2 years. The labour market remains tighter than it has been for many years. The unemployment rate declined further in June to 3.5%, the lowest in almost 50 years. Job vacancies and job ads are both at very high levels, and a further decline in unemployment is expected over the months ahead. Beyond that, some increase in unemployment is expected as economic growth slows. The bank's central forecast is for the unemployment rate to be around 4% at the end of 2024. They really should be showing us all the forecasts, shouldn't they? As part of this media release at the end of footnotes. Do they have a probability of what each forecast is? Because, well, I'm going to show you this bloody wage prediction. Their wage forecasts. Yeah, they got those right, didn't they? Hey, they might get some wage growth. Our liaison program and business surveys continue to point to a lift in wages growth from the low rates of recent years as firms compete for staff in the tight labour market. A key source of uncertainty continues to be the behaviour of household spending. Higher inflation and higher interest rates are putting pressure on household budgets. Consumer confidence has also fallen, and housing prices are declining in some markets after the large increases in recent years. Well, that's true. But it's not going to be the well, the significant correction that some people are hoping for. Working in the other direction, people are finding jobs and obtaining more hours of work. Many households have also built up large financial buffers, and the savings rate remains higher than it was before the pandemic. The board will be paying close attention to how these various factors balance out as it assesses the appropriate settings of monetary policy. Today's increase in interest rates is a further step in the normalisation of monetary conditions in Australia. The increase in interest rates over the recent months has been required to bring inflation back to target and to create a more sustainable balance of demand and supply in the Australian economy. The board expects to take further steps in the process of normalising monetary conditions over the months ahead, but it is not on a preset path. The size and timing of future interest rate increases will be guided by incoming data and the board's assessment of the outlook for inflation and the labour market. The board is committed to doing what is necessary to ensure that inflation in Australia returns to target over time. So there we have it, everyone. There we go. Let's Let's look at. We'll go on good old Twitter, and we'll see. Hashtag RBA. Let's see what people are saying here. Hang on. There we go. So Vishal, with its 50 basis point rise, next rise could be Q2 after Melbourne Cup, but most likely another 40 to 50 points. So they're expecting another interest rate increase because this is what the banks are predicting as well. RBA hikes interest rates by 50 basis points. An ad for Dyson. That's not Australian. RBA hikes interest rates by 50 basis points. Yep. Yes. What's Alex saying? The RBA has upped its inflation forecast in line with Treasury, but downgraded economic growth for 2022 and beyond. Growth is at 1.75 year on year, and 2024, based on population, the banks used to climb back to 1.3% over the period. This is a very ordinary per capita growth. Well, if we're looking at per capita growth, I did this in a previous video where we looked at just the decline in per capita growth since the GFC, as our population has been growing, as we've had economic growth, but it's been below trend. It's been going below trend. So one could make the argument that the economy has been depressed since the GFC here in Australia. Anything else people are saying here? Because we'll start to see the doom and gloom articles appear out of the RBA raised its cash rate. Let's have a look at trading economics, guys. Trading economics. We'll see. There you go. It's heading up. And what was the TE forecast? Yep. So it's on TE forecast. It's on the consensus. It's that 0.5% that everyone expected. So let's have a talk. So we shouldn't be surprised. It's going to return to normal. The rates were at emergency levels. The only sad thing is that people expected or trusted the Reserve Bank to keep rates low until 2024. And the next video I'll put up after this, later, probably tonight, is the sob stories appearing already in the ABC about people bitching and moaning that they bought at the peak and rates are going up. You've got to prepare, guys. For many people who've locked in at a low rate or who are paying, locked in at a low rate, you've got to prepare for the rate to disappear. And for others, you've got to prepare for your mortgage repayments to go up. It's going to be a change in the quality of life of people. Now, will it be enough to actually impact inflation when so much of it is supply-driven? We'll have to see. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and enjoy the content I discuss here, there are a few ways you can help out. You can financially support us via YouTube or Patreon. Use our referral links from Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. Buy our pocket squares, or call us if you need an architect. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. I wonder if people will learn not to trust the Reserve Bank, or maybe their central predictions.